Hello, future chefs. I hope everyone is doing okay in these rough times of COVID-19. But my name is Chef James. I'll be preparing for you a lasagna al forno, which originated in Italy. So for the materials that you're going to need, you're going to need some mixing bowls, some of these petri dishes you can use for spices, measuring cups, and also measuring spoons, another bigger measuring cup, a grater for cheese. You're going to need a scale to scale the ingredients. You're going to have to cook your lasagna in something, so it's going to be either a casserole dish, which I have here, or a lasagna dish. Comes in handy as well. This is a large sauce pot to make your sauce. You're going to need a frying pan. You're going to need yourself a whisk, a spoon, a wooden spoon. I don't have a ladle, so if you're doing this, you use a ladle. To ladle in the sauce. You're going to need a chef's knife. I'm working with what I have in my kitchen. And also tongs. As well as you're going to cook lasagna, you're going to need a big pot to cook lasagna in. So for the mise en place for lasagna al forno, you need 100 grams of carrots, celery, and onion, all small diced, like I have here. 34.5 milliliters of oil. 1.42 liters of tomatoes, canned tomatoes or stewed tomatoes, your choice. 12.5 milliliters of garlic. 7.5 milliliters of oregano. 12.5 milliliters of basil. 12 milliliters of salt. 2.5 milliliters of pepper. And last but not least, 7.5 milliliters of sugar. To cook the actual meat for your meat sauce, you would need 25 milliliters of oil, 125 milliliters of beef stock, and 375 milliliters of beef. This is ground beef. You can use any kind of meat that you choose. To make the ricotta mixture, 150 grams of ricotta cheese, 10 grams of Parmesan cheese, 2 mils of salt, 1 mil of pepper, 1 beaten egg. You're going to pour your oil into the pot, and you're going to saute your mirepoix, your celery, carrots, and onions. For about around 10 to 15 minutes till they're al dente. Make sure you do not brown them, whatever you do, or overcook them because it will really affect your sauce. Cook the meat for our actual meat sauce. One thing to remember is you never want to cook over medium heat. This will brown your meat and it will really affect your sauce. Keep your meat at a nice medium temperature for around 10 to 15 minutes, and it should be okay. So we're gonna add our oil first. And now we're gonna go ahead and add our meat. Now, very important when you're adding the meat, you wanna break it up. You wanna have very small bits in your sauce because it is a meat sauce and we don't wanna have meatballs in our sauce. We wanna have a nice pureed meat in our sauce. So a trick is, if you want to really get the clumps out the meat, if you just use the back of your spoon and you just push, it will pull the meat and separate naturally. So once our meat is fully cooked, we are gonna add our beef stock. And we would add wine, but we don't have any wine. So once your vegetables become al dente, so basically where it still has firmness to it, but you are able to break it, like I just did there, you're going to go ahead and add your remaining ingredients. So we're gonna go add our salt and pepper. Our garlic, oregano, and basil. And our tomato sauce, our tomatoes. So you want to have this on a low heat because you don't want to jeopardize you burning it. Pour your tomatoes in slowly. And now we're just going to stir this, give it a stir. We're going to put this up to a medium heat just so it can boil. Once it boils, bring it down to a low heat and let it simmer for about 45 minutes to 35 minutes. So now, since our meat is fully cooked, as you can see, and it's basically broken down to as good as I can get it, we're going to add our beef stock. And we're just going to let that simmer for about 45 minutes. So now we're going to make our ricotta mixture. So we're going to add our ricotta. The best technique for this, or best material to use, would be a rubber spatula. Now we're going to add our beaten egg. Our cheese. And our salt and pepper. Now we're just going to give that a quick mix. Basically, you want to incorporate the egg into the ricotta. So if you get to something like this, where you see it is a little bit too watery, we're going to go ahead and add a little bit more ricotta. That way it can incorporate. You don't want it to be too liquidy. You still want to have some thickness to it. So that's about right. If you spread it, it should stay together. Now we're gonna give this a try. After this has simmered for 45 minutes, you're gonna blend it. If you have an immersion blender, whatever you have handy to you. One very big tip, always pour away from you. That way any liquid can't get on you or won't burn you because this is really hot. So take your time, there's no rush. All this extra, you can use your spoon that you cooked with. Be able to get everything in there. Don't want to leave any goodness out. You're going to add your 7.5 milliliters of sugar. Will bring a nice sweetness and really bring out the tomato taste. Now you're going to puree it. You basically want to have it all one consistency. You don't want to have any globs, but you still want to keep a thickness to it because it is a sauce. So once it's been all pureed in the right consistency, we're going to pour this back into here. And we're going to give a little taste. Remember, if you've already tasted one spoon, always use the one. We never want to cross-contaminate in this industry. Delicious. So all our beef stock has basically rendered down and reduced. So now we're actually going to go ahead and add it to our pasta sauce, our tomato sauce. I'm going to give this a stir. I want to incorporate it all so it becomes one. So I have boiled my lasagna noodles to al dente, basically for 9 to 10 minutes, and then I let them drain them and let them cool. So now I'm going to show you how to layer the lasagna. So you're going to take a ladle of sauce, spread it. So the reason why we do this is basically so it all stays together and the noodles don't stick. You basically want to just cover the pan. Just like this. And now we're going to layer on our noodles. Make sure you fill in all the gaps. Make sure the noodles are touching each other. And now, you put another layer of sauce, noodles again following, pictures to show you exactly how to layer it. And hello students, I would like to show you what the final product would look like. There's 2 more steps before you complete the lasagna. Basically you want to put 150 grams of mozzarella and parm on top of the lasagna and preheat the oven to 375, which I'm going to go ahead here and do for you. Wait till it preheats. We're actually going to go ahead now and cover this with aluminum foil. 20 to 30 minutes. Your lasagna is done. Always be sure to use oven mitts. Now for this lasagna, you want to let it sit for 10 minutes. Do not poke at it because if you do, it will break apart. Let it stand. Let the cheese do its thing, because if you heard what's called carryover cooking, basically what it is once you take something out of the oven, it will still cook. So leave it for 10 minutes, let it sit. Hello students, we arrived at our final step. I have added 150 grams of cheese. So the last step that you want to do is you want to bake our oven at 375. So I've gone ahead and added the last step. I added 150 layers of cheese, which I've already have gone and...
Nope. The dog, I told you, the dog's out here.
He's eating cheese.
Cooper, out!
Hello students, I would like to show you what the final product would look like. There's 2 more steps before you complete the lasagna. Basically you want to put 150 grams of mozzarella and parm on top of the lasagna and preheat the oven to 375, which I'm going to go ahead here and do for you. Wait till it preheats. We're actually going to go ahead now and cover this with aluminum foil.